Man, it's a big event in the UFC this weekend. UFC 292, headlined by champion Aljamain Sterling, bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling fighting against Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean O'Malley. What are your thoughts about UFC 292?
First of all, I got to say, very good card. Chris Weidman is the final event on the prelims.
How cool is that?
I want to see how he looks.
I want to see it too, man.
I mean, how old is he at this point? He's up there.
Got to be close to his 40s. Right?
I think he might be 40. He's either like 30. He might be 30. He's somewhere between 38 and 40. He's
coming back against Brad Tavares, bro. That is going to be a banger, man. God.
And that man, Chris Weidman's dealt with a whole lot in his career. I want to see what he looks like. This is probably the end. This is probably
it has to be, right?
I wonder how this goes after this fight. And he may retire on the spot. I haven't really seen reports on that, but he's getting up there in age, and he ain't what he once was. But as you start the card, Pedro Munoz versus Marlon Vera. I love Chito. I want to see Chito show something. He's a minus 190. The Mario Batista fight, they're actually trying to find a fill-in right now because I guess the first one didn't go right, so we'll see what happens there.
Wait, they got Cody Garbrandt not fighting in that?
From what I see here, it says opponent to be announced.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like, I don't know if that fell through or what. It sounds like it did. Then you have Neil Magny and Ian Gary before you get to the co-main event. But Neil Magny, brother, he's a stud late in his career, but he's so inconsistent. He's had so many inconsistencies in his career. He's been right on the precipice of really competing in his division and potentially getting like championship fights, but he never gets over that hump.
Yeah, this is the ultimate like gatekeeper fight because Ian Gary,
12-0.
Ian Gary is a budding superstar in the UFC. He's from Ireland, so obviously you got those like Conor McGregor type vibes. He's a big kid who can punch, who can really
toss
do it
his
all.
Hands, but But this is Dana White throwing him to...
Well, this is a step up in competition.
Well, and he's throwing him... This is a dude who throws a bunch of hands.
Right.
And I don't know how well-rounded Ian Gary is. We haven't seen enough of him, but he's throwing him to premier wrestler. Right. Hey, he's been doing this for 10 to 15 years now, wrestling the hell out of people. Let's see if you can stay in there and get into that deep water. It's
a good enough fight to where you go, I like that matchup. But... if Ian Gary beats Neil Magny, that's a big name for him to get on his side, and I think that's when you kind of start seeing the rocket ship move for him.
Yeah.
But then again, it's Neil Magny, and so if Neil Magny comes out and just stifles him, grapples him up against the cage, then you just go, well, that's just Neil Magny and what he does, right? Like that's just what he does. But it's going to be a fun fight. I mean, Ian Gary has the potential to be that dude. Honestly, he's big. He's a good fighter.
Yep, and then co-main event: Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemos. I have been impressed with Zhang Weili and how she's responded to back-to-back losses against Rose Namajunas. I am very impressed with how she has sort of been able to. She beat Joanna, and then she came out last time and beat Carla Esparza.
Yep,
and got the belt back. Subbed her. Sub to Esparza.
I mean, just
right,
wreck shop.
And Esparza is decent on the ground.
She's a wrestler,
right? So, like for Zhang Weili to do that, like I've been very impressed. She's still 34. She's still got a lot in the tank, but I don't know how much chance I give Amanda Lemos in this fight. We'll have to see.
I love Rose Namajunas. I think she's awesome, but in terms of that division, Zhang Weili is my favorite fighter. Like, she is such a baller, dude.
Yep. She's unbelievable.
So good.
Her striking too.
Oh,
her striking is just so on point. It is on point as hell. If she never got caught by that Rose Namajunas kick, I sort of wonder.
Filthy.
I sort of wonder where how it would be for her right now. But she responded really well. I got to give her credit. Two straight wins.
Remember that Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight that she had?
Yeah.
That Zhang Weili had.
Yeah.
That fight was probably top 5 fight of all time for me.
Yeah, when she had Joanna looking like Megamind. She had Joanna with just her
I've
head
seen
was
aliens.
Swole up, brother.
Aliens are real.
Dude, her head was so swollen up. I felt bad for Joanna, but she stuck through 5 rounds, even with those. They were like hematomas on her head.
Bro, her forehead was like.
It was terrible.
I've never seen
people were making
like
fun of her. And I remember tweeting that night. I said, I know people are getting their jokes off, but she was a damn warrior tonight. Like, I feel bad. She's getting memed right now.
I'd be in the corner crying. Like 10 minutes before all that stuff went down.
But the main event, Aljamain Sterling protecting that belt against Sugar Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley has to show right now that he's got to show right now he's more than an entertainer.
Yup.
Because Aljamain will take you to those deep waters, get your ass on the ground by any way necessary, and try to make you uncomfortable as possible. I can't imagine. I mean, Aljamain is not going to stand and trade with Sean. He's not going to do that because he knows what that would end in. He wants to make sure that he takes him to those deep waters, gets Sean O'Malley tired so he's not as effective on his feet. I would imagine some leg kicks are going to be a part of the plan here. But I like Aljamain here. But Sean O'Malley, this is that test. Here we are. We've had the slower build up of him as an entertainer.
Yep.
And Dana White saying, all right, you get your shot, brother. Let's see what you can do with it.
Well, he already beat Peter Yan.
Yep.
So that's interesting. So we've seen that Sugar Sean can do it. The question is, will Aljamain,
against this level of fighter, though, this guy who has an inordinate amount of confidence since getting that belt.
Well, and here's the crazy part. Aljamain has said, he said today, this will be his final fight at bantamweight.
Really?
He will be moving up. And then it's Merab Dvalishvili, his teammate, the guy who's number 3, I think, in the division. He's like, it's his turn to go. So will he go out as champion, or will Sugar Sean make that?
I mean, here's the thing, and I know it was a different fight, just sort of like looking at it, because Aljamain was just all over Henry Cejudo's legs the whole time, trying to get takedowns, and he failed a whole lot, but he got 4.
Yeah.
I have seen Aljamain beat Henry Cejudo, man. Like, that's just that gives me way too much. It gives me an inordinate amount of confidence in him at bantamweight, right? Like, you beat Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo was unbelievable for years and came back to fight you because he thought he could beat you and unseat you, and he couldn't do it. And I know it was a split decision, but Aljamain was very active on the ground when he got Henry Cejudo down there.
Yeah,
fair amount of control. Even when he was on his feet, I was pretty impressed with what he was throwing out there. But like, it's hard for me right now to see someone beating Aljamain Sterling. But
yeah,
this guy Sean O'Malley, he can hit you with one and your lights could be out.
Who do you want to win?
I would say Aljamain.
Really?
I would want to see Aljamain win. I'm going against the grain here. I think everybody wants to see the big entertainer win so they can see him in more important events. But Aljamain, man, I have respect because he had to get drugged through the mud after he won that damn belt when Peter Yan illegally kneed him, and everybody said he was being soft and he's not a good fighter and he got lucky. He has responded to that by winning and telling everyone to F off. Right? Like that's where I have a lot of, and he came back after that DQ, beat Peter Yan, beat TJ Dillashaw, beat Henry Cejudo all in a row. Like, a
lot of respect for that kid.
I can't hate on him. Do you want Sugar to win?
I think, especially knowing that this is going to be Aljamain's last fight in bantamweight, I would like it to go to, unless you were to go, because then you set up storylines, right? It's all about the storylines. Yeah. So then what happens if Sugar Sean beats him, gets the belt?
They run it back?
They don't run it back.
Because he says he's not going to be in bantamweight anymore.
Merab's turn. Merab comes in and avenges his teammate. That's a story, bro.
That's a storyline, but I like Aljamain. I really do.
I do too, yeah. I wouldn't be upset either way.
Like, seeing that type of response after getting killed by the rest of his peers.
Yeah, it was brutal.
That was not fun.
It's like, let me take a baseball bat and hit you in the forehead and see how it affects you.
They're saying he's being soft, but 3 straight wins, keeping the belt. Man, you got to get respect where respect is due.